First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and of ourselves, great millstone, Wallens is truth. And also, Tudo Filet, that's scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. And come back here today with another great, powerful lesson, the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the title of the lesson is Watchman Report. UN troops to be deployed across the U.S. So I like to say shalom to all our listeners. Hope this will help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So I have a quick news article here by the People Voice. Let's get a little bit of it. And it reads, it said UN troops to be deployed across the U.S. as Pentagons prepare for civil unrest. The Biden regime has agreed to allow thousands of UN troops to be deployed across the U.S. in anticipation of mass civil unrest in America. So we constantly been warning you about about the border crisis. We've been telling you about the migrant crisis. We know that a lot of these migrants are being sent to several cities across America. And one thing about it, we already know that they're undercover UN troops. Young military age men that are in different cities across America. It's a sleeper cell. And one thing about it, we know that these things are already been in place. They're giving them food, free food, housing, transportation. Also, they're giving them debit cards. So we know that a lot of this tension is constantly is growing all around us. We already knowing that they are saying that they don't have any place to stay. That they're telling that they don't have a job for them, but it's all by design. It's all been manufactured. So let's get a little bit more. It says here, it's according to a report by Greg Reese, the UN is directing the migrant crisis in America with contingents of its own forces embedded in the military age migrant caravan to activate civil unrest at a later date. So we're seeing that right now. So they already have the stage is set, all things are ready. So we already know that they could call a lockdown. They could set up checkpoints, these mandates, these executive orders that they constantly put into place, like this climate change. Also they telling you about this new bird flu, this pestilence that's coming across the world. We already know what happened in 2020. It was a test run. So we already know that they get ready to have the green lights. We know that these banks are collapsing. We know that, we have to end up the dollar. They're saying that the dollar is finished. We already know that we get ready to come upon a digital society, saying all roads leads to that grain of rice, the ultimate goal. So the men of the Lord, we constantly warn you left and right. So it is at the door. And also breaking news, it was saying that Israel and Iran, it says airstrikes are going off over there right now. It's still developing as we speak, and also airstrikes in Syria and Iraq. So we seeing that things are constantly picking up left and right. We seeing that these prophecies are constantly lining up just like clockwork. So we seeing it right here. This Greg Reese reports talking about the southern border. We're not gonna go into too deep because you already know how we're almost approaching the famine of the world. So we're gonna just get a few seconds of this video by this guy right here. Let's get a few seconds of it.
Very respected journalists and whistleblowers in the UK have confirmed with the military that these brigades of military-age men we've seen being brought into Europe and the United States under the UN banner and the UN NGOs are pre-positioning paramilitary inside the United States and in Europe. And they're being trained by the United Nations in places like Ukraine and Turkey. Restructuring of Canadian mayors and municipal.
So that's enough of that. We don't want to go into too much, but you're seeing right there, so the stage is set, all things are ready. We already know that they have these so-called migrants in several cities across America just waiting on the green light to be activated, these sleeper cells. So we already knowing that the enemy is getting ready to come in like a flood. Already knowing that it's China and Russia, in collaboration with the EU and NATO, is getting ready to storm America, to take over of America. And one thing about it, it's getting ready to be a time of trouble that we have never seen before. So let's start the day's lesson. A quick lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let's start here. We're gonna start here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Let's start there. Just a very quick lesson through the spirit. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, we'll start at the top at verse 1. And it reads, it said, but of the times and the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, because we know perfectly well what time that we're living in. We're living in the end time, real times. We're seeing all the prophecies are lining up. The signs of the times are here. So let's read in the NLT, the blue letter. It said, now concerning how and when all this will happen, said, dear brothers and sisters, we don't really need to write you, because right now we already seeing that right now at the end it shall speak and not lie. These prophecies, these visions, are coming to life left and right. And one thing about it, in that day they shall know that a prophet was among them. Verse 2, he said for yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So we already knowing that, a lot of people are not aware, not considering these evils are constantly growing all around. The people, just had Mother's Day. They getting ready for the 4th of July, talking about, making plans, for going on a cruise, a vacation, making more money, chasing the bag. All those things are going to lead straight to that grain of rice. You would have to take it under the skin. That's what we're coming to. It's coming down to the wire. Great persecution, great death and destruction, the beginning of sorrow. Let's read it in NLT. He said, for you know quite well that the day of the Lord return will come unexpectedly, said, like a thief in the night. So that's what, the Lord said, always be watching, always be praying, always be circumspect, redeem the time wisely, because the Lord, when he show up, there will be no more talking. So we already know that we read up upon the great and glorious return of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. It's fast and approaching. We're seeing that these prophecies are constantly accelerating. We're seeing that things are happening at a fast pace. We are very excited. The Lord is coming. The Lord is coming. Verse 3 he said, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, and travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So right now, a lot of people right now in peace and what? Serenity. They, secure. They thinking that they're a good case. Everything right now is looking good. This is the quiet before the storm. Any given day, all hell could break loose. We telling you this right now. While I'm doing this lesson, you never know. It could be my last video pistol. One thing about we knowing that the family world is fast approaching. They put things in place. Let's read it in the NLT, the blue letter. He says, when people are saying everything is peaceful and secure, then this disaster will fall on them as suddenly as a pregnant woman labor pains begin, and there will be no escape. So that's, talking about what Jacob's trouble. We very close to Jacob's trouble. We're very, very close to what the hour of temptation is fast approaching. It's at the door. We're constantly warning you left and right. It's getting ready to be a global event that you have never seen before. So a lot of people right now still thinking that it's very peaceful. It's sunshining today. It's very lovely. All of a sudden, these dark clouds are coming upon us. A perilous time, a dangerous time. They are at the door. So now let's go here. So we seeing that, also when you get a chance, look up Operation Lockstep. I can't go into it because you already know it's getting very sensitive. So we know we're coming upon civil war, civil unrest, talking about pestilence, this bird flu, talking about another pandemic, lockdowns. A lot of things are coming down the pipeline, fastly approaching. So let's go here to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, and we'll start at verse 12. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12. One moment. And it said, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, to make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen, to prepare the ambushes. For the Lord has both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. And Babylon, is what Babylon the Great, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Babylon is what America, so we already know that we're very close, we're very, very, very close. So the Lord is, is constantly making it happen. We've seen that the Lord is visiting the earth that he created, the ambush. We already talking about what these sleeper cells, these UN troops, these Gurkha troops, when the enemy come in like a flood, the Lord's going to what? Lift up that standard. So we're very close to some very exciting time. Spiritual power is right around the corner. So let's read it in the NLT. It said raise the banner. It said raise Salakia. It said raise. It said rise. It said raise the battle flag against Babylon. It said reinforce the guard. It said and in the station the watchmen prepare an ambush, for the Lord will fulfill all the plans against Babylon. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place, destroying mountain. You know what I'm saying? This place is the most wicked kingdom that ever was erected. So the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place in 1 hour with these sleeper cells, also with those IBCM missiles, the indignation of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So we are very close to these times. So we're seeing that the Lord is constantly preparing. The Lord is constantly devising. The Lord is constantly making it plain upon table. These prophecies are speaking loud and clear. The Lord is getting ready to perform his enterprise, and everyone is getting ready to know perfectly clear what the Lord is getting ready to do. He's getting ready to destroy this place. Verse 13 said, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundance in treasuries, said, thy end is come. She said, let me bring it over a little bit. Said thine end is come, and the measure of thy covenants. It's talking about America, Babylon the Great, the whore that sits on many waters. So, the end is it's fast approaching. We're seeing that these nations are constantly turning against Babylon the Great, left and right. They starting their own currency. We're seeing that a lot of people seeing that America is circling the drain. Verse 14 said the Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. So that's what's getting ready to happen. This place is getting ready to be full of what's UN so-called peacekeeping troops, these migrants, undercover migrants, these sleeper cells, also UN, China, in collaboration with the NATO and the EU, also the BRIC nation. All these nations get ready to turn against America. One thing about it, because they have spoiled many nations, and they also get ready to be spoiled. Hey, it's more than right. The hammer of the whole earth is getting ready to go out with a blaze of glory. So let's read it in the NLT. So this place is going to be full of these sleeper cells, full of the enemy, full of all sorts of chaos, all sorts of disorder, strife, all sorts of bloodshed, death, and destruction is coming at a fast pace, And one thing about it, in that time, a lot of men's gonna be afraid. A lot of women will be afraid. When Jacob's trouble start, a lot of women's gonna get their mind right. Also, these men is gonna be getting laid down even with the ground, because one thing about it, when the Lord called, you did not answer. So this get ready to happen. The 2/3 are getting ready to get it. Verse 14, it said, the Lord of hosts, Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 14 in the NLT version. It said, the Lord of heaven's armies has taken this vow and has sworn to it by his own name. So your cities will be filled with the enemy, like fields swarming with locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you. So that's what's getting ready to happen. So you already know that, they're gonna, when they come in here, when the enemy coming like a flood, the Lord's gonna lift up that stand. They're gonna tear this place to pieces, and after that, they're gonna drop those missiles, from every angle. These missiles will get ready to fly. Things can go nuclear at any given time. So we already hearing about this breaking news over in Israel, these airstrikes. So it's still developing. But one thing about, we already know that we get very close to these times. One thing about, your faith gonna have to be built up, and one thing about it, you gotta trust and believe in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. He's the only way, and also he is the only answer. The Lord's getting ready to come to deliver us with great glory and great power. So now let's go here to 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and we get one more. We close out. Let's go here back to my King James version. Let's go here, 2nd Ezra chapter 6. We'll start up at 2nd Ezra chapter 15, Salaki, and verse 15. One of my favorite scripts. And it reads that, for the sword in there destruction draws nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So that's getting ready to happen. It's just like a hair trigger. It's all sorts of weaponry. We already know about the modern day sword is what is the gun. All sorts of weaponry, all sorts of technology they're getting ready to use. Things that you have never seen before. It's getting ready to come into play. But one thing about it, if the Lord is not on your side, you will be totally destroyed. Verse 16 said, For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. So let's get ready to happen. So when the sleeper cells, when these UN troops come in here and lock this place down, it's going to be sedition among men, civil unrest, civil war. You know what I'm saying? Kill or be killed, Egyptian against Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? Order out of chaos. These things to get ready to happen. They're not going to regard anyone. They're not going to regard each other, the law enforcement, the military. You know what I'm saying? The government, no one. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lawless time. Verse 17 says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able because of what? The lockdowns, because of the mandates, and also because of the checkpoints. You won't, these 15-minute cities, these FEMA camps, you're going to lock this place down. A lot of people going to be sent to these facilities or these chipping stations, if you understand what I'm saying. And one thing about it, if you do not submit or consent, you will be trodden underfoot. You understand what I'm saying? You have to suffer that second death, so which in fact is the lake of fire, which in fact is what Babylon the Great, America. Verse 18 said, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. They shall be very afraid. So called they ain't never ever seen anything like that before in their life. It's gonna be millions upon millions of people, billions of people. It's getting ready to be what? Taken in a great number. And the middle Lord, we constantly warn you, sighing and crying left and right. Out in the highways and byways, making these video a pistol. But one thing about it, we already know the Lord is getting ready to shut the mouthpiece up, and he's getting ready to bring forth that judgment. Verse 19 said, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses and the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. So we know we come upon this time, great tribulations at the door, persecution, death and destruction, the beginning of sorrow. We know that we're here, and also persecution of the saints, things that get ready to happen. We already know that they have these guillotines in place, a lot of people having dreams about people getting beheaded, having dreams about America getting totally destroyed. So these things are happening, so the Lord said he will pour out his spirit on all flesh. So that's exactly what's happening. So we seeing that, they're going to be robbing, stealing, and pillaging, looting, so a lot of people gonna be losing their life over a little bit of nothing, like a piece of bread, water. They're gonna be fighting over a resource. Your money will be obsolete. The end of the dollar is the end of America. So we already know this paper money is getting ready to be obsolete. It's gonna be worthless, and it's gonna be a stumbling block for a whole lot of people. A lot of people right now thinking that they're a good case, thinking that they have things in place, thinking that they're doomsday preppers. But one thing about it, if the Lord is not on your side, you'll get ready to lose. No one is going to escape the hands of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So now let's go to our last and final script. Let's go here to Ecclesiasticus, also Sirach chapter 5 and verse 7. Let's go here and we'll close out here. Sirach 5 and verse 7. And it reads that, make no terror to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security shall thou. It said, let's start back over at the top. My tongue get a little dry. Salaki, Ecclesiasticus chapter 5 and verse 7 said, make no terror to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So a lot of people right now is constantly putting off from day to day. These things are constantly picking up all around it. Suddenly shall it come upon you. A lot of people gonna get caught up in that even that. A lot of people gonna get caught up in this new system. They're gonna trust in the strength of Egypt, because what? They still thinking that everything will be all right. The one that saves his life shall lose his life. So the Lord is getting ready to bring it forth. So the day of vengeance is upon us. So all these Bible prophecies are about to be fulfilled. We're almost at that said measure. Verse 8, it says, set not thy heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity. So we're very close to that day of calamity, a time of trouble that we never seen before. Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. Also, we know that what the MOTB, the grain of rice, is here. So one thing about it, we knowing that a lot of things are coming down the pipeline. So we already know that they're saying that, we're gonna measure the time diligently, but we already know that these things going to happen because what the Bible said. You know what I'm saying? UN troops to be deployed across the U.S. They're already here. And one thing about it, we're not ignorant of Satan's device. So we seeing that these things gonna constantly pick up. We got to pray. We got to watch. Be circumspect. One thing about it, and put your total trust in Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. So the title of the day lesson once again is Watchman Report. UN troops to be deployed across the U.S. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Rikah Kwadash. And I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.